Okay. And YouTube is
No,
saying
no.
I'm going live.
And the moment you do that, someone ends up dropping off the stream.
Is it how you like it?
There's an insane echo.
Does that mean
Where did that echo come from?
you're loading up your audio from the browser? You need to go into OBS.
No.
Give me a second. Properties. No, not properties.
Well, let's just for the sake of argument, let's mute that.
There's a way to mute it. Oh, you can just mute it in the browser. You go to interact and hit the mute button. You might also be able to mute it in the thing. Can I do a filter? Audio, no audio. Okay. Hello, Zach. Okay. Yours actually...
Not able to mute it there.
So if you go to interact, that's the quickest way to mute it. But...
Interact. Oh, I see. Interact. Gotcha.
That should make it readable.
Okay, I guess that makes sense.
But...
Let's see if it fixes it. Undo now.
I don't
Stop.
recall how to mute it any other way.
Well, I gotta. Well, as long as it stays, I guess, permanently muted, or am I going to do that every single time?
I don't know.
Trial and error. That's why we're here.
Yep.
This is why we're here.
I see. Oh, that's crystal clear.
Yeah, everything's working about as smooth as it can. So I'll shrink that down, shrink that down.
Horrible quality. Good.
Okay.
Awesome. So what do you want to do? Want to do a trial run?
Yep, let's do a trial run.
What did you do?
I went into the game.
You went into full screen mode, didn't you?
Oh no, I didn't.
You changed your window size.
Oh no.
Oh, you're back into normal. Okay, you're good.
Okay.
It changes it in OBS.
Huh.
Your resolution, so...
I'm curious. Let me go take a peek. Yeah, it's fine. I can't tell.
I might not watch the stream for a while. I gotta go somewhere, but around 12:20 I should be back. Well, we're kind of doing a test stream, so... It's gonna be what it's gonna be. Okay.
Just hit the screen, it ends up.
You should be able to see it. Up, and
I can't
this
layer
doesn't
OBS over it.
auto scroll.
Well, I guess I could.
Oh yes, it does.
I
It
can
just
watch.
has to be enough people. Can I? If I lower this height by like half, does that give me? Oh, it's all fine. Whenever you get back, we'll still be here.
Oh, don't lie to the poor fella.
Catch you later. It's all fine.
Fun stuff. Madame.
Oopsie. Oh. I just completely trashed that. I want the size, so 490 by 131. 490 by 131. Oopsie.
Let me do it now. Okay, It does.
Yep.
Awkward.
Oh, it's all fine.
It doesn't make it...
It does change the resolution. I'll agree with you, it doesn't ruin it, but it does change it. I need my calculator for this one. This is a math equation here. 490 plus 135 plus 1389. 1389, no. 389. 1014.
Debating. I guess I go play it on the smaller screen right now, and I'll tinker with it later.
Okay. And then
right.
for width, the size is 131 plus 10 plus 230. 137. 1371. Nope. Do I have these backwards? I think I have these backwards. Nope, definitely not backwards.
Nope. I'll be ready when you are, sir.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put it back where it was. I'll figure that out later. Okay, so you just want to check to see if it's running?
Yeah, pretty much we'll go like 15-20 minutes just to get the feel for it, and then we'll...
Okay. There we go. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I am hovering over end right now.
I am as well.
Okay, give me a second. I need to set yours so it's not delayed. I have like a 5-second delay or something like that.
For the stream itself, or?
Yeah.
I can adjust that?
No, it's on my end.
Oh.
I have a render delay.
I think I have that too. I think mine's at 20 seconds. You can actually mess with that, huh?
Yep.
I'm gonna take a peek at that real quick. Do I do that? Properties?
What?
How do I do that? Properties?
It's a filter. So you right click, filters, and then you add a render delay. You shouldn't need it. Because literally the only delay you're going to get is, unless you could do negative delay.
Well, in theory I can delay mine to line up, I guess, right?
You could, in theory, but then you have to edit the audio and have the audio delayed, and it's a mess.
It's just a mess. Yeah, okay.
It is.
It's
hire
more work than it's
somebody
worth.
who has a 4-time job doing that.
Right.
Or until I start getting paid on YouTube.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm gonna hit A on end whenever you're ready.
Alright. Countdown on 3.
3,
2, 1.
1.
Oh, 1. Go.
Okay.
Oh. Yes. Oh god.
Give
Already
me a
hit yes.
second.
Let's go. No! Goody.
Oh, you're already in. Cheating!
I'm already in.
Cheating!
Well, you hesitated.
Cheating! Well, I wanted to include the medallion I got. Okay, so we're entering as an adult.
Yeah.
I am all purple. Oh
my god.
This is jarring.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So I am here now. Let's see, is this open? It's almost like find the next exit.
Exactly, and as cool as this is, I think it's just for what we're doing, just a little overcomplicated.
I love it. I personally love it.
Like in theory, this would be one of those like we work together to beat it, more than actually like racing.
Well, we're gonna kind of race and work together anyways.
I'm sorry, do you think we're gonna work together? Foolish mortal.
Is he moved? Nope, not moved. Okay, so that means.
Oh my god, where are you at?
Only entrance
You
is
didn't even go where I went.
the exit? Yeah, I'm in Zora's domain.
I ended up in the Goron Temple.
Okay, now I'm in Kokiri Village. Okay. Oh, my head hurts. Okay.
That's what I was saying. You would have to literally draw a new map in game while you're playing it.
I like this though. I think it's good.
Oh, yeah.
I think it gives us the added challenge because we've never, like, literally the only challenge in switching items is just figuring out which what's the word? Give me a second. Figure out which step to go next. Now you have to actually, like, contemplate what, like, now you have to memorize things. It's
Exactly.
no
And
longer
if you're
just
off,
reactive. Now it's actually like, ooh, shooting gallery. That's nice.
Well,
I don't have money yet for you though. And the doors go backwards. So if you go in one door, you can go out the same way.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm like, it's not too bad. It isn't like literally at God's will just randomize the doors.
Dang it. If I was a kid, this would be perfect. I could have gotten that done easily. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to make it back.
Yes, you can. You should be able to get through the entrance you came in.
No. Whenever you come out through Goron's domain, guess what's blocking the way? Or when you go into the Goron Temple. Or Goron City.
You're saying there's no other...
I can't get back. I mean, like, in theory, I can go out and around, I think.
You have to be able to go back because it says the game is beatable. What's in here? Oop, a shop. That's nice to have.
Where does this door go?
I wonder if this changes between... If this changes between childhood and adulthood.
That could be treacherous.
That would suck. Oh, fishing pond. That's good to know. I know where my fishing pond is. And I'm dead again.
Yeah, I'm SOL. I can't even lift bombs because I don't have the bracelet.
Can you die?
I probably could, but it'll probably just spawn me back in here. Unless it's just something I'm not thinking. I'm trying to think. Because my only other doorway to go through... Oh no, I'm locked out. There's gotta be something I'm missing. Can I go into the... What you need to do if you want to see what I'm seeing, I need you to go back to the Temple of Time and go the other way.
Okay. I'll have to think of how I got here, though.
Because the only other exit I can see is through the Lost Woods. And I can't blow the rocks up.
Well, how did you come in? Which direction did you come in at?
It put me downstairs in the Goron City. But it's blocked by that rock, so you can't go back.
Okay, give me a second. Let me... Okay. Kokiri Village,
If anything, just restart... If anything, just... Oh, I can restart my C and then go put the sword up if I need to. Technically. That's what I'm gonna end up having to do.
I totally forgot I got a sword. Gosh, I could have done other things. Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to reset.
Well, I'm gonna try to go in your direction and see Okay, from Zora's domain, how did it... Oh, I can't go back from Zora's domain.
Because it's locked, right?
Where it's under ice.
Exactly. That's the problem I'm having. Because you can't trigger... Well, I mean, this has to be like in a beta phase or something, where it's not fully operational. Well, in theory, like I said, in theory, I have to reset the game. It's like a maze. You just have to go back.
I mean, I personally...
Reset.
I haven't seen an issue with this. I'm down with this mode. Like, even though I'm soft locked right now to go back to the Temple of Time, I'm still like, I like this mode.
But that's what I'm saying.
Fusion with it.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like a maze because you have to, when you get stuck, you literally have to hard reset and go back and try again. And then just pray to God, just like a maze. You don't lock yourself and have to restart again to go back. And it's not bad though, by any means.
Can I do this? I think I can.
Yeah, Zora's domain. I'm in Zora's domain now, and
Yeah.
I'm under the water now. I'm on the top of the. So that doorway is randomized there.
Come on. Nope. Dang it. Nope. Okay. Can't do that.
Yeah, but pretty much like I said, what you need to do is do what I did. Go the other way.
I can't!
Well, hard reset your console. Or game like I did.
No, I'm not gonna go the other way.
I want you to go the other way. I want you to know what it felt like having a brain fart and being stuck.
I mean... Oh,
Gallery, right?
that's trippy.
I'm in Kokiri Village.
Yeah, go to the Scotchula house, enter there, and then go to the back of the shop. Watch your mind implode as you think with porters.
You said go to the Scotchula house, right?
Yep. And then go to the back of the shop.
Oh god, okay, I'm here. What's that? What's he selling? Oh, there's a Goron bracelet. Not buying that.
When you exit that shop,
Okay.
go to the back of it.
Okay. Huh. Now you're thinking of portals. Oh, what if I go back inside there? Where do I go now? Oh, I can't because it's closed. And then it gets even harder because stuff's time-based. So unless you get the song in time.
I found the little chest now. I got a shield. That's gonna help.
Like I was saying, this would be something fun to do if we were like truly. If we came in. Oh god. Oh god.
Got a hot piece.
Okay, at least it doesn't. You know the good thing it does?
What?
It doesn't. Whenever it randomly puts you in a shop, leaving the shop won't put you in another random location. You know what I mean?
Both doors are linked. So if you enter
Yeah.
one, you can exit and it will take you to the same location.
Okay, that's good to know.
Like, that's the thing that I'm like, only because of that, I'm fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh. Kokiri Village has shops all over the place.
Because, like I said, if it was written the other way, where exiting Bomb Shop in Goron City takes you to this location, then you have to literally remember exactly how to get to that spot.
Yeah. And that's the only thing I'm like, because of that, I'm willing to deal with all the other issues.
There's some pretty big issues there.
I mean, I haven't seen it. At worst, you have to do a soft reset.
Oh, I found the little chest.
Yep.
Ocarina. Deku Shield!
Oh wait, this isn't gonna take me there. It's gonna take me here. Dang it! I was like, oh, I know where another door is. No, I don't. I have to walk through something else beforehand.
So that means you have to go there. And I think we're in an interesting seed too, nonetheless, because I'm like, I don't know. We can go that way, I guess.
I mean, at least we know it's completable.
So far.
I can't wear the kid shirt as an adult.
Where does this door take me? Where does this door take me? Oh, ballet.
Dang it! And I do love the quadruple kill level, like, it's insane. Nope. Dang it, I'm already hit once. And I'm dead. Oh man, you're already out in the field?
Yeah.
Gosh. Like,
And the good thing, if we do it this way though, there's really no way to really screen sheet either. Because you might not even have any idea how to get to where I am or where you are, and vice versa.
Yeah. I know how to get rubies.
Oh god, I'm going to die.
Or rupees, not rubies.
I'm glad that fire didn't kill me.
Like, my only concern is if it throws you into dungeons, but I haven't had that happen yet. That'd be the only time I'd be like, yeah, we're gonna go to normal mode.
I'm dead. Well, in my mind, you think you'd lock it to the dungeon. It might randomize the doors in the dungeon, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. And if it does that, I'm fine.
In some cases. Because, like, can you imagine, like, the first door takes you to the boss door, and then you can't make it to the other parts of the dungeon? Oh, you want me to tell you
what's really gonna suck?
What's that?
Mystery chest. The mysterious chest room. Because I think each one of those loads up a new area.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, I have seen.
Well, the good thing is you can always go into that room though, at least in theory.
I know, but
it'll be like a segment though.
I'm just like, man, that would be. Like, I'm down for this. I'm actually quite hooked on this mode.
Yeah, I can do it.
Oh, found hearts. If I ever need them. I think they regen. Hopefully they do. Yep, they regen. Cool. Found a heart area, so if I ever need hearts, I just have to sacrifice a heart or two to get to it. And I lose them immediately when I spawn.
This is gonna be interesting. Let's see where this takes me.
Oh, you're in the Temple of Time.
No, I'm not.
You're like, no, I'm not. Don't mess with me. Don't tease
So don't go.
me.
So the Temple of Time takes me here. So never go to the Temple of Time. It's a worthless door. That means you have to explore every door.
It's okay.
Because you never know what doors are
realize you also have the Lost Woods that you have to explore. So where did you come out of to get to Goron City?
You go towards Ganon's castle, I think is the direction I went. I think.
Because I think my... Oh, hey, Rated ZK. Oh yeah, random entrance. It's a nice feature. I'm trying to convince the BlackenedOne to do it. Because mine, if I go to the castle, I get dropped out as if I went out of the Lost Woods.
Huh. That means one of our seeds might be wrong then.
No,
one of our settings.
No, because everything else seemed to be hooking up right. I wonder if it depends on which door you enter first.
No, because you both came out of the Temple of Time.
Yes, but I wonder because I went to Zora's domain first, and then instead of ever going to Goron City by the castle, I went the other way. And I wonder if that changed that entrance. You understand what I'm saying?
I wouldn't think so. I think it would just tied straight to just where the door is.
I wouldn't think so either, but that's the best reason.
Well, that's the thing. Just do a quick hard reset real quick and go confirm then.
Okay, I'll do a hard reset.
And I'll do the same thing. I want to confirm that's where I ended up. Oh god, what am I doing? Stop it. There it goes.
We're kind of just doing a test run right now, rated ZK. So yeah, nothing's keeping track. Do something cool. Do a Heisey? Heisey? I have no clue what you mean by that. Yeah, mine still takes me through Kokiri Forest.
Well, technically, when you go that one way, it should take you to the market.
Yep, I'm at the market.
Okay. I think I went to Ganon's. No, wait, I didn't go to Ganon's castle. I think I went to the right. Oh, yeah, I went to the right. I didn't go to Ganon's castle. I lied.
You went to the back room?
I went towards the front of the castle.
Of the
I
town?
lied.
Out the entrance?
Yeah, to the front of the town. Yeah, towards the entrance, yeah.
When I go there, I go to Zora's domain.
Well,
oh, no, I
you
don't.
Have to go to
Never
the
mind.
Go.
How did I get to Zora's domain?
Because you went straight there from... Because how that chain works, you leave Temple of Time, and it puts you in that one that one bridge section. And if you go straight towards the bridge, it takes you to Zora's domain. If you go from the market to the bridge, it'll take you to Goron Temple.
You're correct. Oh my gosh.
It's how it's layered. That's... Wowie.
So now I'm stuck here. Let's see if I can find a solution.
But the thing that makes you have to soft reset it, though, the moment you leave that room in the Goron Temple...
I'm trying to see if I can find a solution that you couldn't.
By all means.
I can't stop him yet.
Nope. Unless you can hit him with the pot. Which I've never seen that done before, but...
Wait! Where does this entrance take you?
It should take you to Ganon's castle, I'm guessing.
Yep.
It's like a dead end. That's what I'm like. It's like literally like a little maze. You have to literally soft reset it. There's daylight outside now. Wouldn't tell by the smoke over Ganon's castle, though.
Nope, I died. Try next survival. Rated ZK says hi.
Hi. What killed you? I want to see what killed you.
I jumped into the lava.
You're doing that, Scotula. Suicide's not the way out.
Okay, so you can't go down that entrance. What other entrances are in here? Because there's a few places.
There are. But you can't lift up the bombs to blow any of the other exits up.
Can you do this one? No, you can't do that one.
Because the only other exit is through the Lost Woods.
Does that have an entrance?
You need bombs.
I don't think you need bombs for that one. I just can't remember if
you do.
Its own
because it's well, if you blow it up as a kid, it stays open, if I recall. But because we're an adult first, that stays closed.
Or you don't know what I'm doing.
Let me watch you here. What are you doing? Oh, where'd you go, phone?
Can I
And then
look there?
actually, you did take a shortcut across. I wonder where that. I didn't even think to even check over there.
There we go. But I don't. Nope, it doesn't spawn a new room.
Yeah, it's that treasure chest room, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
with all the rocks.
mazes. Yeah.
Mm.
Thinking.
Yeah. Thinking.
No. I don't have anything there that could help me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I would not consider this a fail, though, because in the grand scheme of things, you could try nuts. Okay.
Did you say you find nuts?
No, the Z-rated said try nuts, and nuts aren't lighting them. I was seeing if I could light the bomber chews with the sword.
Huh.
Like if I hit it at the top, if it would just trigger it, because then you could open up that entrance. Again, what I was saying. Yes, is this broken? I will agree.
Not
yes.
really.
However, I would say on the average case, you'd be able to get out.
Well, I'm just saying it's not bad if you consider that you're gonna have to do some soft resets whenever you end up in these type of situations. But
yeah,
overall, it's not bad. I mean, like I said, it literally brings new life to the game again.
And
another layer.
I think there's only like a few places I can think that will have that type of entrance with no exit.
When you're an adult.
No, even if you were a kid, you could. No, you could. Yes, even if you were a kid, if you appeared in Goron City, you could have issues.
Yeah, same, but yeah, you're right. It's only because you need certain things to get. And same, you're in a situation where you need certain items to get to certain points.
Yeah.
Like songs and stuff like that.
But I only can think of Zora's Domain, the desert, and that's it. Give me a second.
Well, if you want to have a fun thing here, if you got Google nearby, find out how many total doorways there are in Legend of Zelda Ocarina at a time, and that's how many possibilities you could have.
Okay, give me a second.
And then, of course, you have to factor in, like, it could be, I don't know how many total backbone layers you could have, but in theory, you'd only have a few true builds for it. Whenever you mix in key sanity and everything with it.
Okay, and yes, ZK rated, I believe we have logic on. Or we had all locations reachable on. Doors. Number of doors in Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I bet somebody counted it.
Well, I'm sure the coder has to have that number in theory, right?
Not necessarily, it could just be a list of all possible doors. MBA, MB, and okay, I guess transfer points? Number of
I guess so.
transfers in
Or boundaries, or I don't know.
yeah, I don't know what it would be called that would be able to get me. Let's see. Does nuts work on the little Goron spinning? Let's try that. Of course, the blackened one I don't think has nuts.
I found them. I got nuts.
Okay. Did you find them in Goron City when you first got here?
No.
Yeah, that's the issue.
I found them in Zora City.
Because if it does work, then you'd still need to get nuts beforehand. Where is the little dude? Oh, there he is. Nope.
You want to see the
Doesn't
nuts
do
work
anything
on
on nuts. Doesn't do any nuts. Nuts. No nuts.
them? No nuts.
Number, doors, and T. Doors. The doors, variations, mimics. Where did doors appear in other games? But it doesn't tell me how many doors. I want to know how many doors are in the game of time. This is a normal question to ask people.
Because no one's ever thought of this. So I'm gonna, every time I go to the door, I'm gonna check it.
This is a normal question to ask.
Because you got Lon Ranch, you got 3 doors on Lon Ranch. You have 5 in Hyrule. You have at least 5 in Hyrule Field, not counting holes you could fall in.
Again,
by the way,
I would say on the general case, I'm gonna soft reset. But on the general case, I don't see it an issue.
I agree.
Like, is it shockingly that our first seed, literally, if you make the first wrong choice in the game, you're stuck?
You're trapped.
Yes, I agree. It sucks that the first wrong choice will do that to you.
Well, like I said, it's not bad. I guess like it's just like a maze. You're gonna end up in those situations. I'm just glad that it doesn't do that thing where if you reset your game, it'll just keep respawning you in Goron Temple.
Yeah.
I can't remember. It doesn't do that in like temples, right? Like it'll always spawn you in the temple.
That's what I'm trying to get to right now. Is I'm trying to find the first temple location so that I can
test that out.
So that I can get a confirm yes or a confirm no. We won't ever get spawned in there. If you want, you can try the same.
Yeah, I'll do it real quick. I got some time. Let me
try to find
soft reset real quick.
Try to find the path to get to the first temple.
Let me soft reset it real quick here.
Guessing you went this way. Yeah, you went this way. Okay.
What sucks now is I'm so far back, I'd have to try to remember the route.
Well, not like it's gonna be much help if you remember or not. Literally every place is just a loop somewhere else.
Yes.
So I think I know how logic is working. Okay, so that's promising. I think they grouped the entrances and exits.
Awkward.
What?
Nothing. Have you gone back to the sword yet?
No.
There's an ice barrier waiting for you.
I know. I looked up on your screen and saw you personally. Yeah.
I'm not gonna have I'm not gonna have anything. I have nothing. I'm dangerous. Oh yeah, here we go.
Nuts. Your nuts should have carried over.
I have nuts. That I have nuts. 5 nuts. Nuts are gonna kill things. Here we go. Let's see. Like I said, here, moment of truth. Where's it gonna take me?
Hey.
Hey.
At least you have your nuts and whistle.
Okay, so that's where the Temple of Time is hidden at. Okay. Sounds like Navi's dying or drowning, I should say. Okay, market takes me this way. Hold my breath here. Hold my breath.
I mean, you got a lot of stairs and stuff you can use.
Oh no! Look.
Or stores.
Oh no. I wanted to confirm the other angle.
Oh, the childhood? Yep.
Well, I wanted to confirm that all the locations are the same.
Oh, so like if you enter it from a different direction, it will...
Well, if you're a kid or an adult, if it'll always take you to the same locations.
Oh, okay.
So in theory, I should end up where Ganon's castle is at when I come out up here.
No, where Zelda's castle is.
Haha! Snicky, snicky.
Which means there's pathways. Which means the entirety... The only issue that made this game broken is because we can end up as an adult.
Yeah, look. Yeah, that's where you end up. So it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So it is layered or stacked properly. It's not all over the place like I thought it was going to be.
And it's boundaries.
I thought it was going.
So I just proved that. So let's say the market's a different location. Let's say market's Goron City. If you get through the market through, let's say one of the store exits, you would end up in Goron City. I think it's based on location where you'd be. Location and direction. Understand? Or did I confuse you?
I got you.
Okay.
So I gotta soft reset it again because I can't get out because I have nothing to use to get out of here. So this is not the way to go.
Ever. See, well, I guess the good thing is you'll quickly know if you're gonna be soft reset it or if you're gonna need a soft reset. Hello?
This definitely adds another layer to thinking how to beat the game.
But you agree with me, you should automatically know if you're gonna need a soft reset or not upon entrance.
Well, okay, that's gonna be awkward. Every time I go that way, I'm gonna get frozen. Like, that's weird that that's there.
It limits the number of times you can go that direction.
Well, it's weird in my opinion because it's like.
Oh yeah, I'm a little confused on what it's detecting.
Okay, it went away.
It might be detecting the
well, I never
Sheik
saved my game.
event.
I never. Well, exactly, it is. I never saved my game. That's the issue.
Oh, okay.
So maybe it did that thing where it instead of reset. I never saved it before reset, so it's pulling from I guess like a raw start.
Yes. Let's see, where does this take me? If it takes me where I think it should, I know how the system works. Yep, okay, I know how the system works. You ready?
Okay.
So, how the system works is there's a series of lists of all the locations, okay? Mm-hmm. Locations such as, like, holes in the ground will always take you to holes in the ground. It might not be the hole you expect, but it'll take you to a hole in the ground.
But it'll always be a hole.
Yep. Entrances into dungeons will always take you into entrances of a dungeon.
Okay.
No, that's not true. Because I entered...
I found home. I found home. I don't want to leave. I found home. I'll go sleep.
That's not true because I think... No, this isn't an entrance to a dungeon. So no, that is true. Never mind. So yeah, entrances to dungeons, I theorize that will always be an entrance
keep you in that dungeon.
To a dungeon.
Okay.
And all overworld locations could be any overworld location. You know?
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I know what you mean. It has to follow those guidelines.
Yeah. Which I thought I had a case that was wrong, but then I realized that I'm not entering a dungeon. I'm at the entrance of an entrance to the dungeon.
Gotcha. That's not too bad. If we were gonna do that though, I'd rather be all out and be completely like shuffled. Of course, temples have to stay in. Like temples themselves need to be.
Which means I think I'm soft locked. Yep, I'm soft locked.
Let's go see what my first special item is. It's gonna be ice, isn't it? Ice, ice, baby.
But I like the concept. The concept, it entertains me.
It does.
I don't feel like I'm just like playing with you and like we're just doing the same thing.
Right. I got a potion.
Congrats.
And I can now get a fish.
And I also like that it's always going to be random. So theoretically, we'll have to eventually we'll eventually just have to like know the game basically inside and out. Like
right.
This could actually improve our memory. That's how strange this is. Like our spatial awareness could actually like skyrocket.
Well, like I'm saying, it's not as complex as I thought it was going to be because, like I'm saying, it's layered where the same doorway is going to take you to the same location, adult and kid. It's not going to literally be all over the place.
If it was all over the place, I'd be like, no. I think we have much better time doing.
I got a Ganon Castle cake.
Well, now you just need to get to Ganon's castle. You're set.
What are you saying, my man? A rumble pack.
Dang it.
I could use that stick. I need a weapon. I didn't even see what song he was selling. That's silly of me. Burlow of Fire. Or Bilero.
Okay. Nuts become highly valuable. Except there's nothing back here.
Oh, wow. There's the mirror shield.
Oh, wait, you can't enter back that way. Never mind.
And the golem check. The mirror shield's 80.
Yeah, I think I got there. Man, this is just so trippy still.
So shops will always be shops in theory, right? That's how it works?
I don't think I've... No, that's not how it works, because I just entered the lighthouse and I'm in the Goron Shop. Good theory, though. I was like, I don't think I've had that happen yet. Nope, just did. And, like you've been wanting, this also makes it more requirement to go back and forth in time.
Ow. Might die. Like, can we... I wonder... No, it'll spawn me here. It'll spawn... I'm a kid now, so if I save it, it'll spawn me in Link's home.
Yes.
In theory, could you find yourself in a really bad situation if Link's home's behind like a door that you need a key to get to or something?
No, because
Like in
there's
theory, it
no
couldn't do
there's
that
no
because it'd be
keys.
beatable.
There's no keys on the overworld. Remember, all overworld maps to all other overworld.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what hole this takes me to. Fire fountain. I'm getting rid of this sucker.
Like I think this is good.
Oh yeah, we can do this next time we play. Like full on.
I do think we definitely need a different seed, per se.
Yeah.
Just because the seed with that one problem at the very beginning is just gonna... I think it's gonna make it overly difficult just to navigate for the first while.
It is. Oh, the doors are locked. That's good to know. Limit my routes here. Limit my routes.
Dodge that. Because overall, I think this is a great mode. I do agree there's a couple soft blocks, and I know why they're broken that way.
So it'll always take me to this shop. Or, oh, I can't go that way now, so I have to go the other way. I can't think with portals. That means you have to go this way. You can't go the other way when you're a kid now. Unless this is the door that took me to Hyrule. No?
Nope, soft block.
I have to go back and be an adult to get to the Hyrule Field. You can't do it as you can't get there as a kid.
Woo! Don't save it.
Which once again, that means you have to be an adult because see, it does the same thing just like the item stuff did, where you have to calculate. Can't do that. Can't do that. Can't do that. Can't go that way. Can't go that way. Can't go that way.
Yes, but unlike the items, this one you have to calculate all that kind of randomly. Like, there's no way you can predict where you can and can't go at the beginning of a run.
Wow.
Damn.
Well, the good thing is I can go get the big chest. The music was the perfect choice for my feeling of awe and amazement. It's the desert temple, I think. It's very nice. Very, very nice.
Where does this take me? This takes me to...
Take me down.
I can buy it, so that at least gives me a shield.
Let me check something real quick here. Let that reconnect. Oh god, no! No! No!
What?
I released my fare by accident.
Mm-hmm. No, you can't do anything down there. Oh, this is just mind-numbing.
Oh, yay! Glad I got that right now. Huge ruby.
Just what you need.
I can go check the shop over here and see if I can get access to a shop over here. What's in this door? Huh.
No, I'm good here.
Ah! What a strange room of pots.
Okay, I'm back in Hyrule Field. I'll take that.
Fishing. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Fishing ponds here. I can go fishing while I'm here.
No, you can't. You don't have the sword.
You don't need a sword.
I thought you needed the sword.
No, I just need the money.
Oh. I always thought you needed the sword for the fishing, man. So in reality, you don't have to memorize the patterns. You just have to memorize what location switched with what.
Exactly.
So like
that's why I was like, it wasn't nearly as complex as it could have been. They could have made it really stupid crazy and had, you know, like I'm saying, like if there was like situations where going into like this door puts you in a shop and then leaving the shop puts you in a different location.
Oh no, that's not what I care about. What I was caring about is what's the word?
I should be able to get whatever he gives me.
Dang it.
I got a forest temple key. So glad I came here first. Well, let's go see.
Nope, I'm dead.
I don't have a sword or a shield, so I can't do the forest temple. Did we locked the
Deku tree.
Deku tree, dang.
But open the forest.
Whoa.
Which I guess you're gonna just have to open everything.
It's Zora. Link's house is Sarah's house apparently, and it's full of love. It's full of love.
Nope, I died. I'm not gonna be able to do that fast enough. I could do that, but that takes a while.
Man, what are you selling? Money bag, how much?
Behind them.
Ah. Gerudo Training Grounds. Spirit Temple map.
Hi, Jaden.
Oh, wow.
What?
Where did this door take me?
Oh, that room. But you. Oh no, you don't have the weird egg yet.
I know. Okay, the door inside the house stayed the same. Thank God. I wonder if that's just by pure. Oh, it's technically one thing. So.
Yeah, it's one thing. So, Jaden, the weird mix-up here is every location that we normally go to, send us an
I found the error.
That's not an error. What shooting gallery are you in?
The adult one.
Mm-hmm.
That's an error.
It's not an error.
That's an error. Well, I've checked all over the doors here, so I guess we can go to...
I wish there was a way we could train ourselves up to this. I wish there was like a light version of this.
There is, just like tone down the settings a little bit. Open up.
Oh, I'm in the desert.
Close off a lot more of the exits or whatever, so you can. So it defines your path a little better.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like a light version.
But I'd rather have it all open though. I like the concept of having to do. Oh my goodness!
Dang it! Like, I like the concept and I really enjoy it, but...
Alright. I found a tricky thing.
What?
How are we gonna get that dog to that lady? Oh, well, in theory, it's gotta stay the same, right? The world has to... that door has to take us to her place, in theory. It has to. For the world to make sense.
I would guess so. Or it logically wouldn't require it.
Yeah, it takes you there. It's all part. It's part of one location. It has to. It is. I confirmed it, and it would have to be for that part of the game to make sense.
Yep. Temple entrances go wherever the temple entrance would be.
To that temple, or is it a random temple?
A random one. Desert drops you off at water.
Interesting. Huh. I found this place. That's interesting.
Which means I believe I'm soft locked. But I got something.
Yeah,
I got
you're
ice.
soft locked because you can. Nice.
I got ice. In the desert after coming out of the water temple.
Ice, baby. Mask shop. What is it? So where does it take me?
I think I just screwed myself because I
Oh,
think
God.
whenever you die, it asks if you want to save.
Well, your soft reset would still put you back in the Temple of Time, in theory.
Hopefully. We'll find out. Yep, okay. So I guess as long as your Temple of Time does not break everything, you're good.
Yeah.
You'll always at least be able to continue.
But you know the good thing about this run, though, the Temple of Time is near Zelda's castle, at least. So you at least know where to find it, at least.
Yeah.
I do have a stick.
I'm trying to remember how I get to Kokiri Village.
Yeah, that's the other part. That's why I'm like, you might want to pull up like a little notepad or something on hand to have. This door goes here. That door goes there.
Nope, that's shop.
I can't remember. Can I get sticks out of these pots? Yes.
Wait, I'm here during the daytime. What can I do at the daytime that I can't do at nighttime? I can talk to her.
And she'll give you the random item.
Ice!
She froze you. She gave you the kiss of ice.
She loves me. Okay. I also can go to those two shops above. I also can do that. I got some options now.
Ice, baby.
Oh my gosh, time becomes a variance now because you can't just go out into like the field and wait.
Exactly. You have to like just time it just right.
Yep, small key for the fire temple I could get.
I found the slingshot, baby. We're in business.
Oh, I can get bombs. I can get bombs. Hopefully that's like the bomb bag.
You would need the gold scale to get a silver scale to get out of here, so you can't go that way. Only way out is that way, I guess.
Alright, know where the potion shop is now. That's good. Oh. Oh yes, I like this mode. And I really like that it's always going to be roughly random.
Yeah.
Like, We could literally reset the seed and we'd be having the same struggles right now we're having now.
Yeah, because you just have to fill out where everything's at. That's half the game.
Yeah. The bad thing is I actually got to a dungeon, so I should have stayed there and figured out the dungeon portion, but it was the water dungeon, and I was like, I don't know if I can even get anywhere with that.
Right.
Because I don't think... No, the dungeon would have rooms. So yeah, I guess the dungeon would be randomized, which... That's going to make any dungeon hard. We don't even need Master Quest for this.
Well, like I said, I don't know if it does this thing that some of the rooms do where they might not be randomized.
Yeah, but I'm imagining if it's... So, I imagine if the screen shows a name, it will be randomized. Which means... Maybe not. I'm trying to think. Because we opened doors, but it never... I don't want to go back. There's a way to get to Kokiri Village. Or not Kokiri Village, I want the other village.
I found the little kid one.
I'm trying to think. I guess
of course.
Right.
Zora's music is, aha.
Dang it, I died immediately. But I got in the village I wanted to get into.
I got a Gerudo key. Yay, that was worth it.
Oh, that's gonna be hard. Goron City? With all those doors? Oh, I guess I
You can't do the treasure chest game until nighttime. Oh yeah, I have to go this way. You have to go left to go right. I don't think I checked inside the shop yet. Oh yeah, I did. It's here. Well, this is something definitely to look forward to next time we play.
What are your plans Sunday?
Football. I don't know how long or...
Okay.
I'll keep you posted though. Oh.
7, please. Tell me I got 7. Is that enough?
At least I'll have a day or two to at least get the... I can get the stream properly labeled and everything as well, which would be nice.
Oh yeah.
I guess for I myself, I'm going to be calling it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna catch this fish, see what I get.
I should give you a key to something.
I'm in the adult time.
Good point, yeah, it'll be something different. Ooh. Oh, that was fun. Good test stream. Everything went according to plan.
Yep, I didn't see too many issues.
Yeah, everything went according to plan. The stream's running full strength.
Yep.
So, that's cool. I'm guessing... Yeah, we'll see how tomorrow goes. If you want to... Oh no! You told me before I had a chance to see it.
So,
Yeah.
I don't mind this mode. It's interesting. I kinda would like to start as a kid, though.
Okay.
Only because of, it'll give some familiarity. Familiarity.
Right. It'll give us more doors to go into in the very beginning.
Or plus, it's just something we know. We know the limitation of a kid. We haven't.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I think we might have done too many new things.
Well, we'll see how that goes next time.
You can't kill the chickens in the house.
Huh.
That sucks. Where does this take me? In the bedroom.
You gonna hide inside the cupboard? In the closet? You'll never find me! Alrighty, y'all. Until next time.
Bye-bye.
Alright, my stream stopped.
I'm stopping my stream now.